Santosh, for having me here, and very pleased to be part of this event. And I've seen how Santosh has been building this whole ecosystem. So I really stand in great admiration for what he's been able to achieve. Very often we say, what can a single person do? And I think there's a lot that a single person can do. He's a standing testimony for that. So thanks for being part of this panel, and really warm welcome to everyone here. I'm Uma, and I just wanted to share a few thoughts on hybrid working. And I have been representing the manufacturing sector for quite some time, right? And so when people talk about hybrid working in Indian manufacturing companies, there's always a big question mark in people's mind as to how can this be done. In fact, I remember the time when we had to get to a 5-day working and how much of a challenge it seemed, because everybody in the corporate sector in the corporate office felt that, plants are working 6 days in a week, how can we take 5 days, right? So there's a sense of guilt or, not being fair and equal, okay? So when you're talking of a mindset of that nature, moving towards something called hybrid working is like a, big turn, a big change. And so how do you make that happen? But I think COVID has taught us, among the many bad things that happened, the good thing was, I think it opened up the potential of what workplaces can be and how can we shape up the future with the help of technology and mindset change, as rightly said by the earlier panelists. When we were trying to look at what was to be done, I think things that worked for us very well was early adoption of technology, right? I mean, the faster you can envisage this, the better it is. We had launched teams before this happened, and this is a core manufacturing, heavy vehicle industry, which probably would have done very well without teams and remote working. But then, the whole penchant to move into a better technological realm in the organization made it happen that we launched it. And what a blessing it was when this hit us. I think everybody started working. I believe in all my years of working, I think I did most amount of work during that period, right? Right from organization restructuring where you're not meeting people, to setting up your processes. We were going in for the BS6 changeover in emission norms, and the whole BS6 training happened virtually, and we looked at so many ways in which we could actually create some kind of real-time environment, so to speak, of knowing what the engines look like and how the machines are going to work and things like that, which I believe we would never have done had it been a normal situation. Look at the normal conventional way of putting everybody into the classroom, trying to make them learn, or do a little bit of technology, but mostly in person. So, and we also got the undivided attention of people during this time to actually learn the technology, which was very, very important for us, and which would have made all the difference to us. So I'm saying, what we think is impossible is actually very possible when you push to the corner. The question in front of all of us is, do we always need to be pushed to the corner to do something, or can we start envisaging the future in a much more contemporary and futuristic way than ever before? We never thought onboarding could happen virtually. Today, I think even organizations, even though they have come back to work and stuff like that, I think these good processes and practices are continuing, right? We actually did a video of the entire plant and plant working and all the nuances of the industry and put that up. Why did we not think of doing that before, right? So when adversity hits you, I think the best comes out in people, and that's what we've been consistently witnessing. The question, of course, is, is it also rosy? And perhaps not. Still the issue of mindset has to be handled and tackled. When plants work 24/7, there's always this thing that, what do you people, and I get asked in the town halls, why can't we have a 5-day week like you guys do, right? And then, you have to go and explain to them that a corporate office is actually 24/7 pretty much, because there's no end time or no start time, because you need to be available all the time. But in a plant, you could actually do your 8-hour shift and actually log off and get to work. So I think a lot of communication, a lot of trust building, consistently delivering success, helps people to understand that the organization is well-meaning and actually wants to cover everybody in its ambit of doing well and actually keeping people well and engaged. The other thing I saw is, I realized that project management skills are gaining a lot of traction in the hybrid model of working, right? The more sharp you are in defining what you need, and the more sharp you are in actually pursuing those tasks to accomplishment, the more on the dot you are with regard to your deliverables. And very less chance that somebody is going to ask you questions around non-delivery, which often becomes the one of the points when you think about hybrid working. So, is it something that we want to live with? For sure. I think when we want diverse participation, more inclusivity in organization, I think we will need to have a flexible mindset within certain confines. And even though today I represent the pharma private equity platform, we are acquiring companies. One of the major challenges that we have is cultural amalgamation of people into the platform's way of thinking and working. How do you make that happen? And one of the things is, as a MNC private equity platform, we're pretty okay and relaxed about a few things. But when you get down to the culture of the plants and organizations that you have taken over, they have a very different culture. So how do you sort of build that for people to understand it's okay to let your hair down sometimes and you can still pursue productivity in a very meaningful way. So I think culture, as always that we've heard, eats strategy for breakfast. So don't try to change something overnight. It never works. Do enough communication and ensure that people understand why you're doing what you're doing and how do you meaningfully enroll them into the whole process. And today I think we're better off when it comes to that. There is a need to look at different functions differently, and I think that is going to be the key to success. Today, my R&D and business development are the engines that fire a pharmaceutical organization. If I don't consider them differently in treatment, policy, etc., I think we're going to lose the engine of the company, and we can't afford to do that in trying to be equitable all the time. So I think sometimes you have to take those calls and say, we're going to be unequal for good reason, but that doesn't mean that we are not equitable, right? So I think some of these things are a matter of communication, a lot of maturity, demonstration of the values from the front by the leaders, which I think makes it all worthwhile. So I think greatly in favor of hybrid, because that's a reality. We shouldn't be fighting that. How to make it work within your menu, considering that talent today is so permeable, right? Somebody from the pharmaceutical industry would go into a data analytics industry. Somebody from a data analytics comes here and tells me, there it was fine to get into the office at 11. And probably it's not so okay to get in at 11 and not be available all days of the week. So I think it's a challenge. I won't underplay that. But I think if you give meaningful work to people, if you make them feel sense of accomplishment with the mission of the organization and also be flexible wherever it's permissible, I think it's all worth the while. So thanks a lot for the opportunity to share my views here. Thank you.